Welcome to the Great Lakes Fishing Podcast. We are in Manistee, Michigan, and we are on board with Captain Chris Ingalls in Dark Blue Charters. Hey, we're not out fishing. It's a little saucy out there on the lake, but appreciate you inviting us out.
It is extra spicy out there right now, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going out. I know I haven't been out in the last 3 days, and I know nobody else has been out at least today or yesterday. So yeah, spicy is right.
Spicy out there. Tell me a little bit about your season this year. How's things been going for you?
Things have been different this year, Chris. It's been, the fish are there. And I mean, if you look up and down the ports, Wisconsin, Michigan side, it's been phenomenal catches up and down both sides. Here in Manistee, we've had some really strange weather occurrences where we started off really, really cold, waited for it to finally warm up. We got some warm weather, and then it dropped back cold again, then it warmed back up. You know, the break went back down past 100, and it's just been a flip-flop for us all season long. And then within the last week and a half, you know, the horde finally showed up. And by the horde, I mean just fish up the you-know-what. And we've just been coming in with limit catches and fantastic days. And now it's blowing hard out of the north again, which means we're going to get cold water again. But, I mean, overall, if you ask me how the season, it's been good. I mean, like I said, if I look up and down Michigan, Wisconsin, fantastic fishing. We've just been in a lull here. We've kind of caught the brunt end of the weather, but that's fine. We're still getting out there.
So what do you do on days like that? Well, I mean, everybody can be a hero when it's going crazy out there, but what do you do on days? And I think this is really, a good question that a lot of people that are trying to get out there and kind of get started on their own always have. Like, you know, they can go out there and kill them when everybody else is killing them, but when it's tough out there, what do you do?
Number one is have a good network. I can't stress that enough. I'm lucky here with my marina. I got 4 or 5 other guys or more that I can call. You know, there's other guys in other marinas. The network is so crucial. Those fish can move on you in a heartbeat. I mean, in overnight they can move several miles. So you might be on them one evening. Next morning they're not there anymore. Well, you get a phone call from your buddy that says, "Yeah, I'm on them in this such and such water with this such and such program." You're lucky enough to have that information. Just get out there and fish too. I just talked about this last night on my Sunday night live stream. You know, somebody asked, how do you stay on the fish? What's the best way? And really, it's like anything else. If you're an auto mechanic, after so many years, you just get really, really. You look at an engine, you go, okay, that's what's wrong with it. If you're a cook, you're a chef. If you're some kind of specialty worker, after a while, you just look at it and you go, okay, this is what's going on. And fishing is no different. I am not the best out there. I am far from the best out there. In fact, I don't believe in the word best. I think anybody can be the best on any given day. But with time, you can look at weather. You can look at conditions. You can look at waves. You can look at forecasts. You can talk to your friends. So with time, you can put all that together. And without even thinking about it, you start getting a plan in your head. And that just comes with experience.
Yeah. So you start doing that and putting that plan together for you. Like, what does that look like? Are you changing sizes, changing colors, profiles, depths? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with the water. It all starts with where the temperature break is, where those fish are comfortable. And it also depends on the time of the year, for the season. Like right now, it's late August going into September, so we know the big kings are going to be staging. We know they're going to be in those shallower waters around the river mouths, ready to come in to do their thing. So we know those things. The water temp throughout the rest of the year, I think, is probably the most crucial thing, because salmon are cold water predators. They want to be in that cold water. They'll be out of temp early in the morning, towards then evening time when the sun's going down, they'll be out of temp. But most of the time, they want to be down there laying on their sofa in that cold water after they just ate that big pizza. They want to be down there where it's comfortable. So knowing where that water temperature breaks off, when it goes down from, down to that low 50s, down to the 40s, that's your comfort zone. And fish hawk is the way to get there. I'm not trying to segue this into an infomercial in any way, but without a fish hawk, how do you know where that temperature break is? Without, maybe talking to your buddies or looking at a buoy. But there's days I'm trolling, and within a mile, my temperature can change 4, 5, 6, 7 degrees. And you'll never know that. If you just talk to your buddy Joe, and he says, yeah, the temperature breaks here, well, he might be 7 miles away from you, or more, or less. That temperature can be completely different. So having that fish hawk down there all the time, all the time I'm talking to my main, look at that temp change, look at that current change. We're always looking at that thing and trying to build our program from it.
Tell me a little bit about, what you're seeing this year, just with the winds that you guys have had, and it's really stirred the water up. And like you said, like one day it's this, and the next day you've got this big pull. How do you guys combat that when you're out there fishing?
You can't combat it in any way. You roll with it. You know, you learn what the water or what the wind does. With us, it's the north wind brings the cold water. And the more sustained cold or north winds you have, the colder that water will get and the deeper that temperature break will get. You know, you might be at 40 feet one day where it starts going down into the 40s. And the next day it might be in the 60s. And the next day it might be in the 80s. And then eventually, if that north wind prevails for a long time, you're going to have cold water almost top to bottom. Top to bottom. So you can't combat it in any way. You roll with it. You know, you get your baits down there deeper. You use bigger presentations when you're down there in that deep water, like big paddles, meat rigs, plugs, things like that. But I've learned the hard way. I'm sure, like everybody else, you know, ask me how I know kind of thing. The deeper you go on your stuff, the less you put down there. Because you got so much line out there. You know, if you're running your high divers out 300 to 400 feet, you're running your low divers out 200 to 300 feet. If you're running your shoot down rig, you're down 100 plus feet, 150 feet sometimes, 200 feet sometimes. All that can become one big ball of garbage on you with the wrong turn, the wrong current, the wrong fish. You got to look for those things. You got to learn how to combat those things.
So we're recording this here in late August, and you're telling me kings are starting to stage, things are starting to happen. How does the rest of the year set up in this fishery then? As that starts going, what does it look like for the rest of your season?
That's a real good question, Chris. So obviously we're up here in northern Michigan. I can only talk really for us and my limited knowledge on what I know for the southern parts of the state, for Wisconsin. So, you know, early in the season, down by Chicago, St. Joe, those areas, cohos start really springing up. Lake trout's really good. The water's starting to warm up. You got a fair amount of kings showing up also. In the early spring, and I'm talking like late May into June, a lot of years we're going to get a run of spring kings up here. They'll start finding that warmer water, chasing that warm water, because the bait fish are chasing that warm water. And they're just like us, you know. Where the food goes, we go.
Right.
You know, if an ice cream truck rolls by us right now, we're probably going to go after it, right?
Yeah, I was just over at the RV park. I took care of that a little while ago.
Yep, no doubt. So the fish are the same way. The food goes by them, you know, ringing a bell, they're going to chase it up the coast. That's what's going on out here in the spring. As we turn into like the June lull, we call it, you know, the water starts really starting to figure itself out. Starting getting a decent temp break. Sometimes we'll get cold, warm water. We get a lot of lake trout around that time. The kings might be here. They might be over in Wisconsin, which we see a lot. I was talking to one captain one day. He had a really interesting theory on that. You know, why so many kings go to Wisconsin. And his theory was there probably is some merit to this. You know, with Big Point Salva down there off Ludington, those currents come off that point so hard and funnel out so much water to the middle of the lake. He thinks, and I think too, a lot of that bait fish comes off that point and gets pushed over the middle of the lake or even further. And that's why I think Wisconsin gets so many good kings early in the year. So we transition back to salmon early July, mid-July, then in August, of course, we get the stagers coming back in. You know, the big ones wanting to come in the spawn.
So as those fish come in, what are you guys doing in September out here? You're wrapping it up, going deer hunting?
No. We're probably in the pier heads yelling at each other is what we're probably doing. You know, it really starts getting into, you know, when the fish really start going into the river, you know, that river mouth is only so big. You can only fit so many boats in there. Of course, everybody wants to get in there and chase those kings. So you get a lot of pier head fishing. You get a lot of, you know, short lead cores, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors, plugs. Plugs are prevalent right then. Right now, plugs are prevalent because the kings stop eating when they start to go into the rivers. Their life cycle's done. They know it. Their biological thing is just, hey, I'm going to go spawn. I'm going to do my thing, and I know my time's over. So you have to find a way to get them to bite. Spoons might do it, but they're not looking at a bait fish anymore. You got to get them aggravated. So plugs with heavy rattles, Dreamweaver 4 and 5 inch plugs. Black sheep plugs are fantastic. Silver hordes. Get something in their face that makes a lot of noise, a lot of flash. Territorial instinct's going to overcome them. A lot of times you're going to get bit on that thing. So later in the year, meat rigs, because They still got to eat sometimes, some of them, but plugs are really the way to go.
Very good. Anything else you want to share this before we let you go here? I appreciate you hanging out with us here for a short time this evening. And
I'm always trying to think of something with you guys. You guys come out, you ask great questions. I mean, you wrap things up pretty darn well, so always happy to help you guys out.
All right, he's Chris Ingalls. Hey, let's talk about your show on Sunday. How do people watch it now? I know that you changed the name of the channel.
I did. Unfortunately, my relationship with Tangle Tackle here is no longer in existence, so I had to change the name of the channel. It's now Dark Blue Adventures, named after the charter. Nothing against Tangle Tackle. They're great guys. They run a great shop, but now I'm over there helping out the Manistee River RV Resort. Nice shop. You guys were there earlier. I hope you had a good time over there. But they run a nice shop. They got good ice cream.
They got great ice cream.
They got real good ice cream. They got a great selection of stuff. So Dark Blue Adventures on YouTube. We do a live stream every Sunday night at 7 p.m. We talk about fishing. We talk about really anything. But then we put one video out a week also showing normally a charter from that previous week. So normally pretty good content. I try.
If somebody wants to go fishing with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Easiest way on the website, darkbluecharters.com.
Darkbluecharters.com. He's Chris Ingalls. We're in Manistee, Michigan, having a good time. Appreciate Chris giving us some time here today.